Okay, so I just had this ride with an Uber rider. He's a helicopter technician. So fascinating conversation. In the midst of our conversation, I was reflecting on how exciting his job must be. And then he said something that it didn't sit right with me, and I had to push back on it. He said, oh, my job isn't really important. It's not as important as, and then he compared himself to like doctors and psychologists and therapists and those people who are bringing real value to the world. And I said, but to the contrary. And here's what I said to him. I said, in essence, you may not think that your job matters, but consider that there are doctors and psychologists and therapists who are doing the job for the wrong reason. And so for me, it's more of a conversation of what are the intentions behind what you're doing. So for example, you're a helicopter pilot. Sure, you may not be saving a life the way a doctor might be, but what you're doing is you are bringing your expertise, you're bringing your commitment to hard work, you're bringing your precision to the job that you do to bring value out of it. And those intentions behind the job that you do are what contribute in meaningful, impactful ways in the community that you're in. Imagine the kind of modeling you are having for those who are following your example. Imagine the way that they are stepping up to try and meet high standards because you taught them what hard work looks like, because you modeled and you helped them to grow and raise the bar in the way they take up space. Imagine how your commitments and values in the work that you do also cross over into your personal life per se, right? And so, yeah, I've heard this comparison thing where people are like, oh, what I do isn't that important in comparison to other more important people. I would say that's not where the conversation ought to be had. The conversation, in my perspective, ought to be had on the premise of what are the intentions behind what you're doing and how you're doing it. Are you doing it with integrity? Are you doing it with a commitment to excellence? Are you doing it with honesty? Are you doing it with enthusiasm and dedication? Are you doing it with loyalty? Like all these beautiful attributes that a person wears in the way they do the work they do. For example, I told him, imagine the janitor in a corporate office. That janitor, by commitment to some beautiful values, whatever values they subscribe to, that commitment to the values that they have personally in the work that they do can extend far more influence in the corporate life, the ecosystem that is in that building, than even the CEO who may be a corrupt individual, potentially, right? So that's where my pushback came, and I encouraged him saying, I honestly think you have as much good to bring to the communities and to the world because of your commitments to those beautiful things. What are your thoughts on this point here? I'd love to hear